Hello and welcome back to the GCN News Show, and this week we're starting down in France. Chris Froome continued his impressive run of form this season by taking the overall honours at the Critérium du Dauphiné, 58 seconds ahead of his friend and teammate Richie Porte. It's hard to believe that Chris Froome hadn't won a stage race overall before the Tour of Oman back in February of this year. He's gone on to win the Tour of Romandie, the Critérium International and of course now the Critérium du Dauphiné. His only blemish this season was back in March at Tirreno Adriatico, where he finished only second behind a certain Vincenzo Nibali. This time last year, questions were being asked of Bradley Wiggins as to whether he peaked too early for his ambitions of winning the Tour de France, and of course now those exact same questions are being asked of Chris Froome. So what do you think? Has he peaked too early, or is he going to go one better than last year and win the biggest race of them all? You can let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And that leads us nicely onto our tweet of the week, which this time comes from Chris Froome himself. On Sunday evening, he posted up this picture saying, "Great to be joined on the podium by the angry little man of the peloton at Richie Porte." Whilst Alberto Contador and Chris Froome tested their legs in France, a number of other big name riders were starting the Tour of Switzerland at the weekend. Amongst them Peter Sagan, Ryder Hesjedal, Dan Martin and the local favourite Fabian Cancellara, who incidentally will not be riding the Tour de France this year. The opening 8.1 kilometre prologue was taken by Cameron Meyer of Orica Greenedge, who beat his nearest rival by 10 seconds, and that was Nicky Terpstra of the Omega Pharma Quick-Step team. The following stage had to be rerouted yet again due to snow and adverse weather conditions. Incredible when you think that we're now well into the month of June. However, they did include the last climb of the day, and it was Borca Mollema of Team Blanco who emerged victorious at the end of the stage. How long before we saw an appearance from Peter Sagan? Well, as you might expect, the answer is not very long at all. He took the third stage after outsprinting a select group of riders, which included Kreuziger of Saxo Bank, Rui Costa of Movistar and Matthias Frank of Team BMC, the latter doing enough to earn himself the new leader's jersey. There were some familiar names at the top of the leaderboard at the Emakumeen Euskal Bira 4-day women's stage race, which finished on Sunday. Emma Johansson capped off a great weekend for the Orica team by taking the overall honours, with Elisa Longo Borghini in second place and Evelyn Stevens of Specialized rounding out the podium in third. It was a dominant performance by the 29-year-old Johansson, who also took 2 of the 4 stages. The first round of the UCI Downhill Mountain Bike World Cup took place at the weekend up in Fort William in Scotland, and you could say it was quite a successful outing for the Athertons. G took the men's race and his sister Rachel took the women's, both of them riding for GT Factory Racing. Believe it or not, this is the 4th time that these siblings have topped the podium together at a World Cup race. Well, last week, whilst we were down at the Critérium du Dauphiné, we had the opportunity to get up close and personal to Alberto Contador's Specialized Shiv time trial bike. It uses SRAM's mechanical red group set, but interestingly, Contador still chooses to use their 10-speed version. It also appeared to have some slightly modified armrests. And whilst we're on the subject of time trial bikes and the Critérium du Dauphiné, here's a video that we shot last week with Caley Fretz of VeloNews, who talked all about the technology that teams use these days in those time trial stages.
You know, the vast majority of drag on any cyclist is going to be the body himself. Stuff like changing a skin suit can make a way bigger difference than changing a bike. So.
We've been busy again recently. We've just done a video in conjunction with our friends at the Copa90 YouTube channel, where our resident trials rider, Martyn Ashton, teaches them all about balance on the bike.
Let's get suss out where you are with your balance. Then I think we can make some quite quick progress on just getting control over the bike. If we can get you keeping the bike on these little balance bits over this nice scenic view, we could have a YouTube hit on our hands.
We could be. This could be the next biggest thing, couldn't it?
It could be.
And we leave you this week with news that we now have some competition in the forthcoming election for the UCI President, or the International Cycling Union. Step forward Brian Cookson, who since 1997 has been president of British Cycling and who is in fact the current president of the Road Commission at the UCI as well. Cookson had previously stated that he wasn't interested in the main role at the UCI, but last week he formally announced his intentions to stand up against current president Pat McQuaid when the elections take place in September. Cookson stated that cleaning up the sport's reputation will be the top of his list of priorities should he get elected. Thanks again for joining us. We'll be back at the exact same time next week, bringing you all the news from the world of cycling. Before we go, don't forget it's completely free to subscribe to GCN. All you need to do is click here.